Hi, this is Pete Lyons with Let's Play Salesforce, and tonight we're doing part 2 of the Winter 19 release sneak peek coverage. We've got a fresh batch of release notes out. We can see Astro is doing his nice snowboarding jump while holding the preview sign in perfect alignment with the number 19. No idea how he does it. It's awesome. This is typically the time of year that everybody likes to make their obligatory winter is coming joke. Well, I'm from Buffalo, and winter is no joke. Winter is not coming. Winter is just Buffalo. So that said, let's jump right in and see some spoilers. So nice cleanup and reorganizational feature that we have this release is that the Dataset Menu has been updated to now show all the various ways that we can bring in and maintain our data in Einstein Analytics. Previously these were scattered across different parts of the tool. Now it's all kind of in one nice, easy to manage spot. So we've got, CSVs, we've got Salesforce data, which is going to take us to the dataset builder and onward to one of my favorite places, the data flow editor. We also have external data. It's grayed out because I'm boring, but this is where you would get to all of your different external connectors. And then we also have an option down here for recipes. So I'm going to click the CSV option, and always remember when uploading a CSV via drag and drop instead of clicking to get your file picker, make sure it goes in the tiny little box in the middle. Otherwise you're actually going to open the CSV with Chrome if you drop it anywhere out here, which is kind of confusing and good for a laugh, but not what we're trying to do. So now I'm going to click next and next, and I'm going to hit the upload button. And I see a nice animation of Einstein doing some sciencey stuff. There's some beakers, there's some Bunsen burners. We're not sure what he's up to, but I'm pretty sure he wasn't actually that kind of scientist. So I think what he's actually up to is he's getting ready for Dreamforce and for the parties, and he's mixing up some nice tasty beverages for us to enjoy. So another feature that's out this release is now this nice plus sign next to map type that's going to give us the ability to upload our own custom GeoJSON directly through the UI in a very clean and easy fashion. Previously these buttons were not here, and I'm going to show you the existing functionality that we have today because this is not yet available in GS0 orgs. I have this aptly named not a map CSV file that I've uploaded. I'm going to group it by my map. We see we just have some random different values here, and I threw a measure on there for fun. And now, despite the fact that it's not a map, I'm going to put it on a map. And then what I'm going to do is actually change the map type to the custom geoJSON that I have uploaded. And again, I did have to do this the old-fashioned way. And we can see that we can actually visualize our data on anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be geographic. I've seen examples of retail stores, neighborhoods for mapping out apartment rental costs, stadiums, Napoleon's March, and the Trailhead logo, and even this great cow. So this is actually over at Mike Lowe's channel. He made a video where he actually walks through the process of how you would take literally any image and turn that into a custom GeoJSON map that you can use in Einstein Analytics. And this new feature is going to make that process a little bit more smooth and painless. Previously you had to use this page here, which is a little clunky, but it was functional and it got the job done. There's a great trailhead that'll walk you through it, but it was still a little bit tedious, and I'm really glad to see this feature come to the UI. So there's going to be some links down in the description to both Mike's video that I was just showing, as well as a really awesome thread on the community where there are a lot of links and downloadable custom maps that you can get that are going to get you off the ground and running. This next feature I'm going to show a little bit quickly because I don't want to get the video taken down for the music. So here we go. So this is something that's been a long time coming. There was a research survey out, well over a year ago. A really nice doc that was published. Steve Fadden and team put together this really long research campaign about what colors would and would not work. We've been waiting a long time to see this feature, and it's because they put a lot of thought into it. And I gotta say, everything's looking pretty good so far. We are looking forward to being able to upload our own custom themes at some future date. I believe this is on the roadmap, but no definitive timeline on that. Still though, we've got some awesome options here. This one is the Watermelon Dark. For example, we've got bluegrass light. I kind of like this one. This is nice. It's pretty easy to tell the difference between the colors. I feel like I have a clear sense of what's going on. Another nice one to see here is that we finally have the ability to choose our operator on date fields, where we can say less than a date or greater than a date. Previously, this was one of the primary use cases why we would need to switch to some other method, either be it SACWL or working with the epics, in order to be able to filter our date ranges. We now have the ability to use open-ended date ranges with just the standard out-of-the-box date picker widget. So when I logged in my GS0 pre-release org tonight to record this video, I was greeted by this new Welcome Trailblazers screen, and I've got a bunch of different options here to get myself started and learning about all the different things that I can do with Einstein Analytics. This is all part of the continuing theme and emphasis on having help and training within one click. We saw it in our last video where different things like conversational analytics linked you directly to relevant content that was going to teach you how to do the thing that you were trying to do right now. And I was able to get confirmation that these videos are still in a placeholder state as the content is being developed simultaneously with the rollout. So I would expect to see them before the new release actually hits production environments. We do have a screenshot of what some of that content is going to look like in the preview version of the release notes. And I did find also, once I logged out and logged in the second time, I didn't get this friendly greeting again. But if I did want to get back to that, I would just click on the question mark and select Welcome to Analytics right at the top. And I have a ton of other options in here. This has been growing for a couple of releases now. And again, Salesforce is extremely committed to helping you to learn Einstein Analytics in a very user-friendly and easy to access kind of way. We're not just going to hand you a textbook on C++. That's just not how it's done anymore. You don't need to be a software engineer or go to college to be able to figure out how to do this stuff. You just have to be willing to try and use the content that's available and have stubborn determination. Don't give up on the first try. It's still a little tricky sometimes, but Salesforce has got your back, and there's a ton of great content on the community as well. So this next feature I have not been able to reproduce yet, but I'm told that it is currently in GS0. Look into the future with the SACWL timelines or time series function. Sounds pretty cool. It claims that we can group our data, give it a seasonality factor. So for example, my data fluctuates annually or quarterly or whatever. Pass in some date columns, and it's going to look at our data and select the correct algorithm to be able to project our data into the future. It also says that we will be able to manually choose which algorithm we want and set a confidence interval as well, and produce graphs that predict what our records will be like in the future. This is a really exciting feature, and once I get it working, it will probably be its own video. But for now, you'll just have to endure with only this screenshot to tide you over until you get to try it yourself. I think what it's actually doing here is, behind the scenes, once it does its calculations to make these predictions, I think it's just simulating inserting fake rows. And what makes me think this is the next SACWL function that I didn't bother to actually try and implement, and this is fill missing dates in a data stream with the SACWL fill function. So this actually came up on the community pretty recently. I have some time-based data, and I don't have rows for all months. So maybe I want to fill those gaps and have something, to go in there instead of lines I don't like, or just jagged lines that have gaps in them and don't really make any sense. So this way we'll be able to put in null rows to actually occupy those missing dates when we don't have that data. So has anybody noticed just how many different new app templates we actually have now? I remember back in the days when it was just sales and service, but we've got a ton now. And I'm not seeing it on here, but we do also have the new adoption app that there's been a lot of chat about on the communities. A lot of good promise for that. User adoption is a very important part of any implementation. Please be mindful that this is not an exhaustive list, even though I do have 11 different templates here. There are other templates that are available. Some of them do require additional feature purchases, such as the Financial Advisor Analytics is going to require that you have Financial Services Cloud, just as Health Cloud will also require Health Cloud. But there's just a ton of stuff that we couldn't do before. It's really great that we have pre-built apps that allow us to get to our insights quickly without necessarily even having to fight our way up the learning curve of SACWL and bindings. We can just have them. You know, we're using these standard objects and these extensions of standard functionality. It's great that we can just have templates based off of them. And I'm also, you know, I read in the release notes that we are going to have some new wizard capabilities, that when we select a templated dashboard, that it's going to walk us through a wizard that's going to use existing data sets to spin up these assets, although this is not yet available in GS0, or I just can't reproduce it. So to wrap it up for tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the external connector updates, replication updates, and also limit changes that we're seeing in Winter 19. Now, we did talk about in the last video how our data flow runs was going from 40 to 50, but we also have now 10 notifications instead of 5. Sharing inheritance, which we had previously seen gone from 2,000 to 5,000, has now gone up to 10,000. I imagine that we're going to see this trend continue as the product becomes more robust in the back end. Replication, we've seen some updates there as well. It's now called data sync. I haven't gone too deep into other updates that we have or really anything that we're doing with replication, but we also can schedule periodic full resyncs to avoid what is being referred to as data drift, and trigger the sync of external data when we run dependent data flows. Again, this kind of overlaps into also external data connectors, where we're seeing improvements to Google BigQuery and Heroku, and also a new connector for Amazon S3, where we're going to be able to append multiple CSV files together. So that's all that I have for this evening. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope it enriched your Salesforce learning process. If you did, please like, subscribe, tell a friend, and as always, thanks for watching.